In this section, we'll review the fundamentals of catching. Positioned directly behind home plate, the catcher is baseball's most important defensive player. He signals for or orders each pitch that the pitcher throws and is the last line of defense against opposing base runners. Because of its many responsibilities, catcher is easily baseball's most challenging position. Here's Coach Ned Yost.
Hi, I'm Ned Yost, and I'm a coach with the Atlanta Braves. This afternoon I'm going to discuss with you the basic fundamentals of catching. I'm going to explain some of the equipment that a catcher uses. First of all, what he needs to put on are shin guards. These shin guards are made of hard plastic. When he gets down in his squat, it protects his knee area, his upper thigh, and his feet. They're made of hard plastic, and they'll take foul balls where you won't be injured at all. Next thing that a catcher requires is a chest protector. This is just a little padded piece of material that slips over the catcher's head, protecting his chest, his stomach, and his receiving shoulder. There's no protection on his throwing shoulder because that will impede in his throwing process. This is just to keep the sting off the chest, which is adequate protection also. A third thing a catcher needs to keep in mind is head protection. Catchers these days are using hard protective helmets or skull caps that also protect catchers' heads from backswings of the bat and foul balls and things of the like. That fits over the catcher's head like this. A catcher's mask, which is a heavy wire mask, fits over the catcher's helmet for total protection against foul balls, players run into him, balls in the dirt. As you can see, he's fully protected at the head and the legs and the chest area.
When worn properly, the catcher's equipment will provide full protection from a variety of injuries. The most common hazard is the foul tip.
A very, very important part of equipment is the cup area in his groin. And that is a hard plastic thing that fits in a athletic supporter, which protects his genital areas, keeps him from getting serious injury resulting from a foul ball or ball in the dirt. Last piece of equipment is the catcher's glove. This is a glove that's a lot different than an infielder's glove or an outfielder's glove. It's a glove that's made to take a heavy pounding from pitchers throwing hard fastballs and breaking balls. It's a more heavily padded glove. It's got a smaller pocket, but it's got padding all around the base to protect the thumb area and the finger areas, and it's a lot longer lasting glove than most infielders or outfielders gloves. Okay, that's your equipment. Make sure, coaches, that your young catchers wear your equipment at all times. It's for their protection. It's their friend. It will save them from serious injury at all times. So make sure that they wear their equipment.
For catchers, there is a risk of injury on literally every pitch. They must wear their equipment properly at all times.
Okay, let's talk about stances. Generally, I believe there's three basic stances, and the three that I'm going to talk to you about today are: one, your sign-giving stance; two, a stance that I call nobody on base stance; and three, a man on base stance. Your sign-giving stance is a stance where you get down, and what you're doing here is you're communicating with your pitcher, your second baseman, and your shortstop, letting them know what pitch is going to be thrown. You want to only allow your pitcher, shortstop, and second baseman to see the signs. It's important that you conceal them. The way that you do this is you sit in a comfortable position with your weight on the balls of your feet, heels up off the ground. You've got your weight down on top of your legs like this, where you're completely balanced and comfortable. Your back's going to be straight, your head's going to be up so that you can see that your pitcher's got that sign. You don't want your legs spread out too far. If you get your legs spread out too far, the third base coach and first base coach can see your signs. You want to approximately put your left leg towards your shortstop, your right leg toward your second baseman. That will conceal your signs from the coaches at the corner. With your glove hand, you can place it in a position right here on top of your knee or down below your knee, wherever you feel most comfortable. When you're giving your signs, coaches, remember, Tell your kids to get their hands back in the groin area. You want to be careful because a lot of kids will tend to give signs down too low, which can be picked up. They'll be too far out front. Another thing to watch for is kids will tend to put their glove in front of the signs, which will hinder the vision of the pitcher and the middle infielders. Glove hand can be placed either on top of the knee or below the knee. And make sure that those signs are given well back in that groin area so that they're well protected and only your people can see them.
The catcher's hand should be directly in front of his protective cup when giving signs, and his knees should point towards the shortstop and second baseman. The glove hand can be placed on top of the knee or below the knee, as long as it does not block the pitcher's view of the signs.
Now, with a nobody on base stance, you've got to remember that a catcher has two main responsibilities. His first responsibility is to receive the pitch as softly and quietly as he can and give the umpire the very best look that he can. So everybody's nobody on base stance will be completely different. The thing to remember is that you must be relaxed in a position where you can relax your hands, relax your body, and stay down. My nobody on base stance would be just one where I would slide my leg over, be completely relaxed, and give the pitcher a good target. You notice if you watch TV, a lot of major league catchers, they sit their tails on the ground, they get one leg on the ground like this. All this is fine as long as you're relaxed and can receive the ball. Some catchers like to get in their stance and keep their hand out front. That's fine. A lot of catchers will keep their hand behind themselves. That's fine. One thing to remember, coaches, kids, if they're going to keep their hand out front, let them get in the habit of holding on to something like the lace on your glove. That will protect it. But another thing, it's very dangerous to have your hands open when you've got them out front. You've got to teach them to get in a position like this, where their hands are nice and relaxed. They're not open. They're not in a tight, clenched fist. If they're like this and a foul ball hits off it, your fingers will give. Now, I've caught 14 years and haven't had any finger injuries. It's important, though, that they keep their hands in a nice, relaxed semi-fist. Okay? Back again. Important. Nobody on base stance. Relaxed, staying down, keeping your elbows clear where you can just receive the pitch.
There are many variations of the nobody on base stance. The catcher's main responsibilities are providing a good target for the pitcher, receiving the pitch cleanly, and giving the umpire the best possible view of the pitch. Once those responsibilities are met, individual comfort becomes the key factor.
Now, if you want to determine where you're going to set in the box, a lot of catchers will set up, a lot of catchers will set back. I like to teach my kids to set in relation to the hitter. We have a hitter here, and I'll give you an example. What I like to do is I like to position the catchers in the box so that if they reach out, they can touch the back knee of the hitter. Then they're safe from a swing. If the hitter moves up in the box, then the catcher can move up in the box. Position himself in this area here. Now he's completely safe from the batter swinging the bat. With the man on base now, his responsibility level jumps way, way up. He's got to be ready to block balls in the dirt. He's got to be ready to throw to second base or third base if the runners are stealing. And he's got to get in a position where he can move and be quick. If you were going to measure your feet, you'd back your right foot up about 6 inches so that it lines up with your left instep. Your weight is going to be on the balls of your feet, but your heels will be on the ground. You don't want to get your heels up too much because that gets to be uncomfortable and you get wobbly. Weight on the balls of your feet. You're going to bend over at the waist so that your back is perpendicular to the ground. Keep your head up, drop down on your haunches like this. Now, your rear end is an important part of this. If your rear end is down, that tends to be your center of gravity. If your rear end is down, you cannot move. If the ball's in the dirt over here, you can't move this way, you can't move that way. You've almost got to be like a boxer or a basketball player. Your rear end has got to be up so that you can move. Your feet are going to be light and they're going to be quick. You're going to be down, but you can still move this way, or you can move this way, or you can move forward. The important thing, coaches, is make sure that the young catchers don't lock themselves by keeping their rear end down too much. Keep it up. Keep their head up where they can see, and keep them down. A lot of young catchers will try to get up here. Squat them down. Get them in a position where they can see and yet still move.
With a runner on base, the catcher's responsibilities increase dramatically. He must be able to react quickly and easily to a variety of situations. Notice how this catcher keeps his rear end up and his eyes straight ahead. He can see the entire field and is able to make a strong, quick throw to catch a runner attempting to steal.
Now let's get into a little bit about shifting. What shifting means for a catcher is to be able to get out and catch pitches that are in the air or balls in the dirt that are outside the strike zone.
Because some pitches are outside the strike zone, catchers must learn to shift their bodies in order to reach them. In the single-step shift, the catcher remains in the receiving position but takes one step to the left or right in order to receive the pitch. The catcher should step in the direction the pitch is traveling by pushing off strongly with the opposite leg. On pitches in the dirt, it may be necessary for the catcher to shuffle both feet in order to shift his entire body into the path of the pitch. By shifting his body instead of reaching with his glove, the catcher reduces the chance of the ball getting past him.
Okay, now we've covered our stances and we've got them. Let's talk a little bit about receiving. Receiving is the catcher's art form of catching the ball softly and quietly. What you want to do, coaches, remember, is to teach the kids to relax their hands. Keep their hands and arms relaxed. There's ways that you can do that, and I'll show you how. Basically, first thing you want to do is to get them to give a good target. A good open-faced target with the glove. What this does is this allows a pitcher a point of concentration. This is what he's aiming for, this is what he's concentrating on, and this is where he wants to throw the ball. Make sure that your catcher gives a good target. A lot of catchers will give poor targets like that. This just helps intensify the pitcher's concentration a little bit. Now you will notice once they get their hand up in this position that their muscles are extremely tense and tight. So what I teach kids to do to get relaxed is when the pitcher gets at the top of his motion right here, the pitcher's going to throw, he doesn't need that target anymore. Just turn your glove 1/4 of a turn. That accomplishes all of this arm becoming completely relaxed, and that allows him to be a lot quicker. Plus, on the pitches that are toughest, balls this side to a catcher, instead of catching balls like this, he'll be here, here, and then just fade and catch it. Remember, don't let him drop the glove. Just let him get a nice 1/4 turn. It's important that when receiving a pitch, make sure that the arms are free. You don't want the arms locked up in the knees like this. On pitches outside the strike zone, you won't be able to react to because you're locked. On both sides, you'll be locked. Make sure that their elbows are free and nice and relaxed. Given a good target, 1/4 turn, now they can go get it.
By rotating his glove a 1/4 turn as the pitch approaches, the catcher is able to relax his arm muscles and receive the pitch more smoothly.
The thing that they want to try to do and what they want to try to accomplish is when they're catching the ball, you want to keep them away from diving or stabbing at the ball. When two forces meet head-on, you've got a lot more force going head-on than if you got one giving and one going. So what you want to try to get them to do is to receive that ball and bring it back into a point in the center of their chest, no matter where they catch it. If they're going to catch the ball here, if they're going to catch the ball here, boom, catch it and bring it back. Catch it, bring it back. A high pitch, catch it, bring it back. Bring it back. And that develops their soft hands. It's important, especially for young kids, that they want to snap and grab. Get them when they're playing catch on the side, when they're warming up pitchers in the bullpen, to concentrate no matter where they catch it. If they catch it here, bring it to a point back to the center of their body. And after a period of time and concentration and practice, they will start developing soft hands.
Receiving is the art of catching the ball softly and quietly. Notice how this catcher relaxes his arm as the pitch approaches, then absorbs the ball by bringing it back towards the center of his chest. Jabbing and grabbing at the ball is the worst habit a catcher can develop. It often results in passed balls and runs for the opposition.
Coaches, another thing we want to remember on receiving, when your catchers are catching the ball, on a ball that's about knee level or down, we want to catch that ball palm up. All right, we want to turn and catch the ball palm up. We want to try to discourage the kids from catching everything like this. That gets them in bad habits of slapping at the ball. Here, knee down, palm up. Anything above that, we're going to catch this way, with the fingers pointing up this way. Anything up this way, anything below this way.
Watch how this catcher handles a pitch below his knees. Instead of slapping at the ball, he scoops it with his palm facing up. This is another technique that encourages soft hands. On pitches above the knees, the catcher should receive the ball with his palm facing down. This will make it much easier for him to bring the ball back towards the center of his chest.
Now, balls especially that are in the dirt this way and balls that are bouncing require blocking. We're going to discuss a little bit about blocking. The important thing about blocking is that you don't want to try to catch the ball. This is balls that are going to bounce in the dirt out in front of you. All right? Basic fundamentals of blocking are very simple. What you want to teach your kids to do is get down on both knees. Realize first that it's going to be in the dirt, down on both knees. They're going to take their hands, glove hand and bare hand, and fire it back in this hole. Right here. You don't want to get lazy with your glove here, coaches, because if you do, your hands will be out here, the ball will hit and tip off. That just defeats your whole purpose of getting down and blocking it. Get that glove back in that hole. Keep your shoulders arched and out front so that your chest is angled down towards the ground. That allows the ball to hit your chest, and come back in front of you. A lot of kids will get here like this, and that'll hit and bounce off. Make sure that when it bounces, it'll hit and bounce back in front of you. Important. Remember, keep your head down. Try to teach them, which is real hard with kids to begin with, to watch that ball bounce into the chest. If this is going to be our ball right here that's going to bounce, watch it bounce into the chest. Now, with your neck down, if I can show you this, with your neck down, there's no way you can get hit in the throat. But if you go to block a ball and you put your head up like this, the first thing that's going to happen is that ball is going to find your throat. That's the way you protect your throat, and you must keep your head down to protect your throat.
When blocking a pitch in the dirt, the catcher's goal is to provide as wide a barrier as possible in order to keep the ball in front of him. Notice how this catcher drops to his knees while thrusting both hands between his legs. He blocks the ball instead of trying to catch it. Once again, grabbing at the ball is the worst mistake a catcher can make.
Okay, simple review. Ball going to be in the dirt. Drop down both knees, fire that glove in that hole, shoulders arched, watching the ball right into your chest. Okay? Balls that are off to the side. Maybe the ball is going to bounce over here. Fundamentals are exactly the same, but you've got to push yourself over this way to get out in front of the ball. What you want to do is get in your position, come this way, throwing yourself in front of the ball, hands in that hole, turning your shoulders so that you position yourself when the ball hits that you will keep it towards the center of the dugout or the center of the diamond. A lot of kids will get over here and see that ball and go this way. The ball will hit you here and run off that way, defeating your purpose. It's important that they work those shoulders on this pitch, boom, to here, to get in front of the ball and block it. Same way on a ball over here. You're going to get yourself, push off with your opposite leg, boom, turn your body so that your body is facing the center of the diamond. Okay? A tip, coaches, for kids, when they get this, they get a little more advanced. You'll notice that your kids will drop straight down. Now, you will notice the angle of that ball in the dirt, especially balls out in front of the plate. That's a long way for that ball to bounce before it hits you. What I like to do is teach kids to shorten up that angle, be aggressive on that ball. And instead of dropping, boom, straight down here, fire out, staying low, and shorten up your angle. From here, boom, to here. Now you've got a much shorter bounce. You get your success rate in blocking these type balls jump way up. It makes blocking so much easier when you be aggressive. The basic fundamentals are easy. On a fastball, curve balls, remember, when you're blocking curve balls, especially one from a right-handed pitcher, you will know that 90% of the time the wild pitch is going to be off to your right. What you want to do after you call that curve ball is put a little extra weight, about 60-40, on your left leg. So when that ball does bounce this way, you can push off. Remember, curve ball spin, coaches, when it hits, it will kick back. The ball is spinning, it will hit and kick back. It won't hit and go this way. It'll kick back into you. So you want to almost try to line that ball up a little bit off center on a pitch from a right-hander so that it will kick, boom, and bounce back. All right? Same way on a left-handed. With the left-handed pitcher on the mound, you're going to put a little more pressure on your right leg so you can fire out this way, turning, lining it up, because it's going to come back also. Basic fundamentals are easy. Getting down, hands protected in the hole, shoulders out, head down.
On pitches far outside the strike zone, the catcher must fire out quickly and turn his shoulders back towards the pitcher in order to keep the ball in front of him. Failure to turn his shoulders may cause the ball to bounce into foul territory and allow the base runners to advance. Otherwise, the fundamentals of blocking remain unchanged. The catcher drops to his knees, thrusts both hands between his legs, arches his shoulders forward, and keeps his head down to protect his throat. Remember, the catcher's main goal when blocking any pitch is simply to keep the ball in front of him.
The important part, and the second part of blocking, coaches, is one that you're going to really have to keep on top of your young players, and that's the mental part. Once they get this down, a lot of times they get scared. They're afraid that they might get hurt. Show them, as we did earlier, that their equipment is their friend. It will protect them as long as they use it right. And to stay aggressive on these balls. A lot of times when balls get back to the screen, it's not because you don't know how to block the ball. It's because you weren't ready in your mind to get down and block it. With your gear on, it doesn't hurt. Tell them to stay aggressive, stay ready, and anticipate that ball being in the dirt. That's as big a key as getting down on both knees to block it.
For many catchers, the mental aspect of blocking is the most difficult. Encourage them to be aggressive because their equipment will protect them.
Okay, now we're going to talk a little bit about the fundamentals of throwing. The first thing that I need to mention is the proper grip for a catcher. The grip that we like to use is what's called a four-seam grip. For catchers, same with outfielders and infielders. We like to grab the ball around the fat part of the seams. That enables us, when we throw, that enables us four seams fighting the wind, giving us a true straight throw. When you grab it around these skinny parts of the seams and throw, you've only got two seams working for you, and you can get the ball to tail and to fade that way. So we like to teach a four-seam grip. Okay? Now we're going to talk a little bit about the fundamentals of throwing. There's two parts I want to talk about. Your upper body and your lower body, or your footwork. First of all, let's cover your upper body actions as we go into our throwing. The important thing that you want to remember as a coach telling your young catchers is that when they receive the ball, they want to get the ball and get their glove to a point right about here with their shoulder, even with their ear. Some kids find it more comfortable up here. Some kids will find it more comfortable here. What that does is that closes the player up, enabling him to line his shoulders up at the target that he wants to throw to. Your front and back shoulders lined up are like a gun sight on a gun. That's how you aim your throw. If you want to throw to third, your shoulders are aimed towards third in a straight line. If you want to throw to second, your shoulders are aimed towards second base in a straight line. After you get your shoulders turned, you get yourself in this position. Now, this is not your starting position. This is your starting position. This is not where you're going to throw from. Once you get here, what you're going to do is your arm is going to come up, elbow level with your shoulder, arm at a 90-degree angle. You want your wrist straight up. You don't want to turn your wrist one way or the other. That'll cause the ball to fade. You're here, elbow up, wrist straight. Your lead arm is pulling through at a downward angle. You don't want this arm up. If you get your arm up in a position like this and throw, you'll be throwing uphill. Same result happens if you drop your elbow. You'll be pushing the ball and throwing uphill. You lose velocity and you lose your accuracy. Once again, the important things are get your shoulders turned, glove in this position, arm up, elbow level with the shoulder, wrist straight, front arm pulling through, and just like a pitcher, you come out, snap the wrist, and bring that ball from the 6 to 12 rotation straight into the bag.
Watch this catcher's upper body on this throw to second base. He brings the ball quickly up to the throwing position, lines the shoulders up with the target like a gun sight, and makes a strong overhand throw. In this example, the catcher lines his shoulders up with third base. Notice how his right elbow does not drop below shoulder level during the throw. This, along with a good overhand release, will keep the ball from sailing away from its intended target. On any throw, the first step is bringing the ball to the throwing position. Doing so quickly will usually ensure a quick release as well.
Now, let's cover footwork. I've got 4 different footwork patterns I want to explain to you. The first one is called a 4-count right foot lead. We'll be using the right foot to start with. 4 counts goes like this. Boom, catch the ball 1. Lead with the right foot, just a little step, about 8 to 12 inches. Bringing yourself around for 3, getting yourself in a throwing position for 3, and throwing the balls 4. Going through it again real quickly. Catch the ball 1, right foot step 2, in position to throw 3, throwing the ball 4.
Here's a major league example of the 4-step method. Catching the ball is step 1. Stepping with the right foot is step 2. Bringing the ball up to the throwing position is 3, and the throw itself, 4.
For advanced players, we've got what's called a 3-count right foot lead. This is where you combine steps 1 and 2 together. Instead of waiting to catch the ball before you move, you're stepping as you're catching the ball. This works on strikes that are down the middle of the plate or a little bit outside. You're going to catch the ball, boom, as well at the same time you're throwing. For 1, getting yourself turned, your upper body in throwing position. 2, throwing is number 3. That's a 3-count right foot lead.
By striding forward as he catches the ball, this catcher reduces the number of steps from 4 to 3. This method works best on strikes over the middle of the plate.
There's another method that we call the shuffle step. It's the footwork the same as you were a shortstop. You're catching the ball and shuffling your feet, getting yourself into throwing position. Your upper body remains constant on all 4 patterns of throwing. You're going to do the same things. Shuffle step, boom, here, ready to throw.
This catcher uses the shuffle step to move quickly into the throwing position.
The last one is what we call the rock and fire, where you catch the ball, shift your weight back on your back leg, get your hands in throwing position, staying down and firing out, throwing the ball. Coaches, remember, your catchers, the first thing they're going to want to do when they go through this is they're going to want to stand up. They'll catch the ball and want to stand straight up. Keep them down. Always try to keep them down. Catch the ball, stay down, drive with their shoulder towards the bag. Once they get in that position, boom, boom, driving towards the bag, arm up, make sure their shoulders are turned. Those are the important parts to watch for, okay? Those are the fundamentals of throwing.
The ability to throw strongly and accurately to any base is one of the most important skills a catcher can develop. Through practice, the footwork patterns and upper body fundamentals of throwing will become second nature, and the catcher will be able to execute them as quickly as possible. Remember that on any throw, a split second can be the difference between safe and out.
Okay. Okay, what we're going to talk a little bit now is recovery of a wild pitch or pass ball with a man on third base, where you're going to have a play at the plate. Remember, the key things that you want to remember is in like a bunt, you want to start quick and then get yourself in control after the ball. You want to scoop it with both hands, keeping your concentration on the ball until it is scooped up, then turn to the plate and throw. A lot of times you'll be in such a hurry, you'll be trying to scoop, look, turn, and throw all in the same motion, and you'll come up with nothing. Okay? For an example, if a ball is going to be, a short pass ball is going to be over there, you want to break fast, come to it, get around it, scoop, and throw. Under control, quickly. A ball that is more farther back, which is what we call a do-or-die play. Either you're going to make the play or you're not going to make the play. You're going to have to go down to both knees. A ball that's a little farther back, you're going to have to run, come under control, come in this area here, and throw, all in one motion. That's do or die. That's why it's important that you concentrate on the ball, scoop it with both hands, flip it to the pitcher.
On wild pitches, the catcher must stay under control. He should scoop the ball with both hands first, then flip it quickly to the pitcher.
Okay, now what we're going to cover a little bit is about pop-ups, the fundamentals of pop-ups. As a catcher, responsibilities on pop-ups, especially down the first and third base line, is you go after everything until your infielders call you off. When you hear them call you off, get out of the way. Balls that are hit right up at the plate and a little bit out front are the toughest balls to catch for a catcher. What you have to remember is that when a ball goes up in the air, it's going to come back in this angle here, like it's coming back into the infielders. So what you have to do as a catcher is you have to find the ball, get your back turned, make yourself an infielder so that the ball will come back into you. Your first thing that you want to do as a fundamental is, with your mask on, the foul ball is hit. Boom. First thing you want to do is find it. You don't want to be running around looking for it. Take your mask off, find the ball. If the ball's directly up above you, you want to get yourself turned around so that the ball will come back into you. Once you realize where the ball's at, you want to get rid of your mask, and you want to toss that mask out of the way. A lot of people will see the ball and drop their mask right away. And what they'll do is they'll get under it, and they'll get into a position where they're going to catch the ball, step on the mask, and fall over. It's important, once you find the ball, once you get under the ball, to toss your mask and get it completely out of your way so there's no chance of tripping on it. Once you get under the ball, you want to line that ball up about 2 feet out in front of you so that it's going to be out in front. If you line that ball up dead even with your head, with the ball coming back, it's going to land behind you. You want to line the pop-up up so that it's going to be right in front of you in this position here. Keep your weight on your toes. You don't want to get your weight on your heels, especially if you have to run after a ball. If you've got to run after a ball and you run on your heels, your head bounces. And when your head bounces and turns, it makes the ball bounce all over the sky. Important, coaches, make sure that your young catchers are running on their toes. That keeps their head from bouncing. Once you get the ball lined up, you're underneath it, it'll come back, line it up directly with your nose, 2 hands, boom, catch the ball.
The catcher's first task on any pop-up is to find the ball. Once he finds it, he tosses his mask in the opposite direction so that he will not trip over it while making the catch. It's very important to remember most pop-ups will drift back towards the infield. So on pop-ups near the plate, the catcher should turn his back to the infield so the ball will drift back towards him. He should then line the ball up in front of him rather than directly overhead, and catch the ball with 2 hands. Most errors on pop-ups occur when the catcher forgets that the ball will drift back towards the infield. This catcher fails to keep the pop-up in front of him and is lucky to make the catch.
Okay, now we're going to talk a little bit about fielding bunts. 2 main things you want to remember when you're fielding bunts. It's important that you break fast out of the catcher's box. Get on your way to the ball fast. When you get about halfway there, get yourself under control so you can grab the ball smoothly, throw to first base. The way that we want to teach you how to pick balls up, a lot of kids will come in and in their hurry try to pick up the ball with one hand. But what they'll end up doing, they'll end up watching the runner, watching the play, and end up missing the ball or fumbling the ball. The way we want you to field the ball is to come in and scoop up with both hands, using this almost as a shovel or a scoop, to just scoop the ball, whoop into your throwing hand to get ready, to get yourself into position to throw. Okay? Now, on balls that are bunted down the third base line, what we want to do on a ball that's bunted down the third base line, we want to come out, we want to get around the ball with our back to the first base. We're going to field the ball, turn, and throw.
On bunts to the third base side of the infield, the catcher should field the ball with his back towards first base. He then turns and makes a strong throw. When fielding any bunt, the catcher should keep his eye on the ball, not on the runner, and he should scoop the ball up with both hands, using the glove like a shovel.
Okay, that's on a ball down the third base line. A ball from the middle of the infield over to the first base line. If it's bunted, you're going to come with your chest towards the first base. Come around the ball a little bit, get a little bit of an angle built in, scoop the ball, turn and throw.
On bunts to the first base side of the infield, the catcher should field the ball with his chest facing first base. The two-handed scooping technique remains the same.
Okay, the last bunt that we want to talk about is a bunt directly down the first base line. If the ball is bunted directly down the first base line, we're going to come in, field it, and clear a step or two away from the line. If you stay in the line and you throw to first base, you have a chance of hitting the runner in the back of the head. You want to get away from the runner, a clear shot to your first baseman, where you're going to turn and throw him out at first base.
The trickiest bunts are bunts directly down the first base line. Notice how this catcher steps away from the line after fielding the ball, so that his throw will not hit the runner.
Now we're going to talk about plays at home plate. We've got three plays we want to talk about. Tagging a runner out at home plate, a force play at home plate with no possibility of a double play, and a force play with a possibility of a double play from home to first. Okay, the first thing we want to talk about is the play at the plate where you're going to tag the runner out at home. Say there's a ball hit the left field. You as a catcher are going to come out and position yourself right down the third base line with your left foot pointing directly down that line. Coaches, it's important. Don't let your catchers turn his foot this way. When a runner slides into him, it will result in major damage to the ankle and to the knee. This way, if he slid into, his foot will give and everything will go backwards. Right here, you want his foot pointed directly down the third base line. Body weight will be down low. You want to stay down low in case a runner tries to knock you down. The lower you can get, the better off you'll be. After that, you're going to get down, you're going to stay down low, you're going to receive the ball. After catching the ball with both hands, you're going to tag the runner with both hands, step off, and see if there's any other plays out in the field. Ball's to center field, you're going to be positioned the same way. You're going to stay here, you're going to catch the ball from center, tag right here. From right field, same thing. Your body's just going to be turned more this way. Catch the ball, tag. Remember, keep your kids, if you can, from going out here. All right, a lot of kids want to go out here, catch the ball, and dive back. That's a lot slower. It'll be a lot quicker if they just stay put, catch the ball, and tag the runner out.
On tag plays at home plate, the catcher must not rush forward to meet the throw. Watch how this catcher stations himself at home plate and lets the throw come to him. He then catches the ball with both hands and tags the runner sliding into the plate. It is very important for the catcher to keep his body low and his left foot parallel to the third base line. This will minimize the chance of injury in a collision.
Remember, what we want to do is we want to place our foot directly down the third base line. We don't want to get careless and have our foot turned that way. If they slide into us, it's a great chance that we'll break our ankle. We're going to keep our foot planted down the third base line. We're going to have the weight on the balls of our feet. When we get the ball, we're going to protect the ball with our bare hand. We're going to keep it held firmly inside the glove. When the runner's sliding in, we're going to hold our position, tag the runner, and then take the ball out of the glove so he doesn't have a chance of knocking it out of our hand. Okay? Now, base hit to left field, here comes a runner down the line. I set myself in the plate, I catch the ball, and I've set myself firm. Right here. Now I've got him blocked off, I've got him tagged. Right here before his foot gets to home plate.
On this play, the catcher is in perfect position to make a play at home plate. Notice that his left foot points directly down the third base line and that he makes a firm two-handed tag.
Okay, now that's how we tag a runner out that's sliding at the plate. Now, the other way that a runner will attempt to come in is in an upward fashion trying to knock you down. The best way that I've found to tag a runner out like that is not try to take him on. When a runner tries to come in, what you want to do is you want to step up, tag him while you're stepping away and pushing off the runner. Here's an example of that. If a runner's coming down, I'm set, I'm going to tag him, push off, and then get ready for a play. All right? I'm not going to try to get myself in a position with that runner coming down to home plate. With that runner coming down to home plate, I'm not going to try to get myself in a position where I'm going to let him knock me down. All right? I'm going to give with it, and I'm going to just tag it, fade, and let him go.
If the runner is trying to score standing up, the catcher should not try to block the plate. Instead, he should tag the runner as he goes by and pivot back towards the infield to look for another play.
Let's talk about forced plays at home plate with no possibility of a double play. Infield's in a little bit and they hit a hard ground ball to somebody. You as a catcher on this play are going to almost turn into a first baseman. You're going to come in here with your foot directly on home plate, and you're going to get into a position right here where you can field the ball. Being ready to move, light on your feet. If it's a bad throw, you want to try to keep this foot on the plate. But you are going to face your runner. You're going to face the fielder that has the ball, and when he throws it, you're going to be just like a first baseman. Boom, catch the ball and get away from the plate. A lot of times these runners will come and try to slide and knock you down.
With no chance for a double play, the catcher should keep his right foot on the plate while receiving the throw, then step quickly out of the way once the putout has been made.
Plays at the plate, a forced play at the plate with a chance of a double play, okay? This is what we want to do. We want two ways of doing this. First way is have a kid stand directly on home plate, facing the fielder where the ball's coming. Say the ball's coming from short. He's going to stand here. He's going to catch the ball with his foot on the plate. Get himself out front here, clear. Get his shoulder pointed directly at the target where he's at. Throw on to first for the double play. Okay, that's one way. Another way, which seems to be a little quicker for more advanced players, is to get a little momentum going into the throw. Stand back here, the ball's hit to the shortstop. You've got to stay here. Make sure that the throw's a good throw coming to you. As soon as you realize it's a good throw, you're going to come up, boom, catch the ball at the same time, turn, and throw to first base. That way you're not started from a dead stop position. You've got momentum going into your throw. It's a quicker to the first baseman, and you might get that runner out by that boom, boom little count.
When the bases are loaded with less than 2 outs, the catcher must be prepared to turn a double play. Once the force out is recorded at home plate, the catcher should step quickly out of the path of the oncoming runner and make a strong throw to first base. On this double play, notice how the catcher is stepping forward as he receives the throw from the shortstop. The split second he saves makes the difference at first base. Now that we know the fundamentals of catching, let's learn some drills that reinforce those fundamentals.
Now let me show you a few drills that I use that will make your players better catchers. Let's block some balls in the dirt. Basically what you want to do is just roll and get the fundamentals down right. That's it. Start real easy with them over this side. That's it. Get that hand behind that glove now. Don't leave that hand out front. Go ahead and block the ball. Attaboy. Put your bare hand behind the glove. This side. That's it. Attaboy. Keep your head down. That's it. Perfect. Okay, we can work on some bunts. Crank bunt down the third base line. You're going to go and you're going to turn and you're going to get it and pretend like you're going to throw to first. Okay? You ready? There it is. Go get it. Easy. Attaboy. Attaboy. Come on, let's try one down the first base line. Other way. Here we go. There it is. Go get it. Attaboy. Attaway. We can do drills where we have them throw to second base, where you don't have to wear your arm out. Frank, just nice and easy. This isn't a speed drill. We're working on good, solid fundamentals. Just throwing the ball to second base. All right. Here we go. Change up. Okay. Now, here we go. Nolan Ryan fastball. Atta baby.
Even major leaguers need drills to keep their skills sharp. Let's listen as the Milwaukee Brewers review the basics of fielding bunts.
You got to clear a little bit to the runner, all right? Runner's going to be on the inside. Okay, go. Make sure and clear it. Make sure and clear it. Make sure and clear it. Good. Attaboy, back get the next one. Back and get that next one. Scoop, shoot. Back and get that next one. Here we go. All right. You go to third base, Rick. Switch around. Come on in, Neil. Hustle. There's tag. Okay, you ready, BJ? First one's a warm-up. Make sure everything's loose. Clear it inside. Okay, go. Scoop it. Clear. That's it. Hit on back. Come on in that shoot. Scoop. Scoop. Go back and do it again. Even though it's dead. What did I say? Scoop. I may be wrong, but I want you to use both. Scoop. Because part of this drill is getting down so we're here rather than halfway. Okay, go. Scoop. Scoop, attaboy. All right, third base.
Another common drill involves throwing to second base. Here the Chicago Cubs catchers are practicing both their upper body movement and their footwork.
Give it to him, Ross. Heads up, Uncle. See you, Dave.
When practicing throws to second base, having a pitcher throw from the mound will make the drill as realistic as possible.
I personally think he's like Benson. He'll block if he has to, but he doesn't block.